Quick challenge. Which sentence sounds the most natural? I speak Spanish also. I speak Spanish too. I speak Spanish as well. 3 sentences, 3 correct sentences, but only one is the sentence most Americans would naturally say in everyday conversation. Can you guess which one?
Here's the surprising part. This isn't really a grammar lesson. It's a natural English lesson because you can know every grammar rule and still sound just a little unnatural. That's exactly what happens to thousands of English learners every day.
The words also, too, and as well all mean almost the same thing, but native speakers don't choose them randomly. They choose them based on the situation, the position in the sentence, the conversation, and sometimes even the feeling they want to create.
Today, we're going to test you with 10 real-life situations. Not textbook English, not boring grammar exercises, just the kind of English Americans actually use every single day. Keep score as you watch, and pay special attention to question number 8, because that's the one even advanced English learners usually get wrong.
By the end of this episode, you won't stop to think, should I use also, too, or as well? You'll simply know, because you'll start thinking the way native speakers do. All right, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk Bella. I'm Bella.
And I'm Ryan. We're so happy you're spending a little time with us today. Whether you're learning English on your way to work, relaxing at home, or listening while making coffee, thank you for being here.
Today, we're talking about 3 tiny English words that almost every learner knows, but very few learners use naturally. Also, too, and as well.
If you've ever wondered, do I say, I like pizza also, I like pizza too, or I like pizza as well, you're definitely not alone.
Because here's the problem. Most textbooks tell you they all mean the same thing. And technically, that's true. But that's not how native speakers think.
Americans don't stop in the middle of a conversation and think, today's a good day to use also. Bella laughs. They simply choose the word that sounds the most natural without even realizing they're doing it.
And that's exactly why English learners get confused. You understand every word. Your grammar is correct, but something still sounds just a little unnatural.
The good news? That's exactly what we're fixing today. By the end of this episode, you'll know when Americans naturally say also, when too sounds much better, when as well is the perfect choice, which one works in formal English, which one sounds casual, and which mistakes immediately tell native speakers that English isn't your first language.
And we're not going to learn this like a grammar class. No long rules, no complicated explanations. Instead, we'll learn through real conversations, everyday situations, fun challenges, and lots of examples you'll actually hear in American English.
Plus, throughout today's lesson, we're going to keep testing you. So don't just listen. Try to guess the answers before we explain them. Sometimes you'll be right, and sometimes we promise we'll surprise you.
All right, are you ready? Let's start with one simple question. If these 3 words all mean almost the same thing, why does English need all 3? That's where the real story begins. All right, let's start with the biggest question. If also, too, and as well all mean almost the same thing, why does English have 3 different words?
That's a fantastic question. And honestly, it's one that many native speakers have never even thought about because we simply grow up using them naturally.
Exactly. To an English learner, it feels confusing. 3 different words, 1 meaning. Why not just choose one?
The answer is surprisingly simple. These words don't really exist because they have different meanings. They exist because they have different personalities.
I love that word, personality. Think about 3 friends. They all enjoy coffee, they all tell jokes, they all like traveling, but their personalities are different.
That's exactly how these 3 words work. They all express the idea of, in addition, me too, one more thing, but each one feels a little different.
For example, listen to these 3 sentences. I also speak Spanish. I speak Spanish too. I speak Spanish as well.
Did you notice something? The meaning never changed. Every sentence tells us, I speak Spanish in addition to another language.
But they don't sound exactly the same. One sounds a little more formal. One sounds more conversational. One sounds more relaxed.
Native speakers notice that feeling immediately. not because they memorize grammar rules, but because they've heard these patterns thousands of times.
Here's something interesting. When children learn English, nobody teaches them, today we're studying also versus to. They simply hear adults speaking, again and again and again. Eventually, their brain starts recognizing the patterns automatically.
And that's exactly what we're helping your brain do today. Not memorize, recognize. Because fluent speakers don't translate every sentence in their heads. They recognize patterns.
Now here's today's first mini challenge. Don't answer out loud just yet. Just think. Which sentence sounds the most natural? A, I also love pizza. B, I love pizza too. C, I love pizza as well.
Ready? Here's the answer. All three are correct.
I know, that's probably not the answer you wanted, but that's exactly why learners get confused. The problem isn't which one is correct. The real question is, which one would a native speaker naturally choose in this situation?
And throughout today's episode, that's exactly how we're going to think. Not, is it correct, but does it sound natural? That's the difference between speaking English and sounding like someone who actually uses English every day.
So let's meet our first word, the one Americans use every single day, the one that loves living in the middle of a sentence. Also. All right, let's start with the easiest member of today's family. Also.
If also were a person, it would be the organized friend. Everything has its place, and it almost always stands right in the middle of the sentence.
That's the first big pattern you should remember. Not the meaning, the position. Because native speakers don't think also means in addition. Their brain automatically knows also belongs somewhere in the middle. Listen carefully.
I also like coffee. She also speaks French. They also live in Chicago. Did you notice where also is?
Right before the main verb. That's its favorite home.
Now let's make it a little more interesting. What happens when the sentence has the verb to be? Listen. She is also a teacher. He is also from Texas. We are also excited. Now also moves. It doesn't stay before the verb, it comes after the verb be. Exactly. English is funny like that. The word didn't change. Its meaning didn't change, only its position changed. Now here's where many learners make their first mistake. They say, she also is a teacher. Is it understandable? Yes. Does it sound natural? Not really. Most Americans would naturally say, she is also a teacher. And here's something cool. You don't need to memorize dozens of rules. Just notice the pattern. Native speakers repeat this thousands of times. Eventually, their brain does it automatically. And yours will too. Let's test you. Which one sounds more natural? A, I also am tired. Or B, I am also tired. The answer? B, I am also tired. That's what you'll hear in everyday American English. Great. Now let's make the sentence a little longer. I have also finished my homework. She can also drive. They will also join us later. Did you catch the pattern? When there's a helping verb like have, can, will, should, could, also comes right after it. Think of also like a traveler. It always looks for the first verb and quietly stands beside it. Here's a real-life conversation. Bella, I'm learning Spanish. Ryan, I also want to learn Spanish. Natural, friendly, exactly how Americans talk. Or imagine you're at work. Your manager says, we need someone who can speak French. You reply, I also speak French. Simple, professional, natural. Now here's something that surprises many learners. Sometimes you'll hear also at the beginning of a sentence, like this. Also, don't forget your passport. Also, the meeting starts at 9. But here's the important part. This is much more common in emails, presentations, or formal writing, not casual conversations with friends. So if you're chatting with someone, don't worry about starting sentences with also. You'll sound much more natural using it in the middle. Now here's today's second challenge. Which sentence would you naturally hear in America? A, I like pizza also. Or B, I also like pizza. Take a guess. If you chose B, you're thinking like a native speaker. I also like pizza. Much more natural. But don't celebrate just yet, because the next word completely changes the rules. And this is where almost every English learner gets confused. Let's talk about to.
Now let's meet probably the most common word in today's lesson, to. If you've ever watched an American movie, you've heard it hundreds of times.
Actually, probably thousands, because native speakers love this little word. It's short, natural, easy, and incredibly useful.
Listen carefully. I love pizza too. I'm coming to. She wants one too. Did you notice something?
Unlike also, to doesn't like the middle of the sentence. It almost always waits until the very end.
That's today's second big pattern. Also likes the middle. To likes the end. If you only remembered those two ideas, you're already ahead of most learners.
Let's compare them. I also watch Netflix. I watch Netflix too. Same meaning, different position, different feeling.
And here's something interesting. If Americans are speaking casually, many of them naturally choose to more often than also, especially in conversations.
Imagine you're talking to a friend. Friend, I love Italian food. You reply, me too. Or, I love Italian food too. That's exactly how real conversations sound.
Now imagine someone says, I'm going to New York next month. You smile and say, I'm going too. Short, simple, natural.
Now here's a mistake that learners often make. They say, to I like coffee. Can you hear it? It sounds strange immediately.
That's because to doesn't start sentences. It patiently waits until the sentence finishes.
Here's another common mistake. Learners sometimes write, I too like coffee. Now, is it wrong? Not really, but it sounds much more formal or literary.
Exactly. You'll sometimes see it in books or speeches, but not very often in everyday American conversations. Most native speakers simply say, I like coffee too.
Here's today's challenge. Which sentence sounds more natural? A, I like your idea too. B, I too like your idea. Take a second. What would you choose?
The answer for everyday American English is A. I like your idea too. Much more relaxed, much more conversational. Let's make it even more real. Imagine you're ordering lunch. Your friend says, I'm getting a sandwich. You reply, I'll get one too. Not, I'll also get one. Although that's correct, to sounds more natural here. Or imagine you're watching a movie. Someone says, that actor is hilarious. You laugh, I think so too. Americans say that constantly. Here's something else you'll hear all the time. So do I. Me too. I do too. These are all built around the same idea, agreeing with another person. And later in today's episode, we'll show you exactly when to use each one. So don't worry if you're not completely sure yet. Everything is going to connect together. Now, here's a question for you. If also usually sounds a little more neutral and to sounds relaxed and conversational, what about as well? Does it sound formal, British, professional, or something completely different? That's exactly what we're about to discover. All right, it's time to meet the third member of today's family, as well. At first, it looks almost identical to to.
And honestly, that's why so many learners think they're interchangeable. Sometimes they are, but native speakers still feel a small difference.
Listen carefully. I love coffee too. I love coffee as well. Both are correct. Both sound natural. But they don't feel exactly the same.
If to feels relaxed, like talking with your best friend, as well feels just a little more polished. Not formal, just a little smoother.
Think about meeting someone for the first time. They say, I work in marketing. You could reply, I work in marketing too. Very natural. Or, I work in marketing as well. Also very natural, but just a little more professional.
That's why you'll hear as well quite often, at work, during interviews, or in polite conversations.
Now, here's something interesting. Many British speakers use as well much more often than Americans.
Exactly. If you watch British TV shows or listen to British podcasts, you'll hear, thank you as well. I'd like one as well. We're coming as well. All the time.
Americans use it too, just not quite as frequently. Most Americans naturally choose to, especially in casual conversations.
Now, let's play another quick game. Imagine your friend says, I'm ordering dessert. Which reply sounds the most natural? A, I'm ordering dessert too. B, I'm ordering dessert as well. The answer? Honestly, both.
That's right. Sometimes there isn't one perfect answer. Native speakers choose based on style, not grammar.
Now, here comes today's biggest trap.
And almost every English learner makes this mistake at least once.
Listen carefully. I like coffee as well tea. Does that sound right?
No, because something important is missing. When you connect two things together, you need as well as.
Exactly. Listen to the difference. I like coffee as well means I like coffee too. The sentence is finished.
But I like coffee as well as tea. Now you're connecting two different things, coffee and tea.
Here's another example. She speaks Spanish as well. Finished sentence. Or she speaks Spanish as well as French. Now she's speaking two languages.
Let's make it even more natural. I bought bread as well. Simple. I bought bread as well as milk. Now you're talking about two shopping items.
See how one tiny word, as, changes the whole sentence?
That's why native speakers never say, I like coffee as well tea. It immediately sounds incomplete.
Let's do one more challenge. Which sentence is correct? A, I visited New York as well California. B, I visited New York as well as California.
The answer? B. I visited New York as well as California. Beautiful, natural, exactly what native speakers say.
So now you've learned something really important. Also usually lives in the middle. To usually waits at the end. As well also waits at the end, but as well as becomes a connector inside the sentence.
And believe it or not, we've only covered positive sentences, because once English becomes negative, everything changes. And that's where even advanced English learners often make mistakes. Let's look at that next.
All right. Everything we've learned so far has been about positive sentences. I like coffee too. She also speaks French. We're coming as well. Easy, right?
Very easy. But now, English changes the rules, and this is where thousands of English learners get confused.
Let's start with a real conversation. Imagine I say, I didn't sleep well last night. How would you reply? Would you say, me too?
Most learners do, and honestly, it feels logical. But native speakers almost never say that.
Instead, they say, me neither. Or, I didn't sleep well either.
This is one of those tiny differences that immediately makes your English sound more natural.
Here's the simple rule. Positive sentence, use to, also, or as well. Negative sentence, most of the time, use either.
Let's hear the difference. I love sushi. Me too. Perfect. Now, I don't like sushi. Not me too. Instead, me neither.
Or listen to these. I don't drink coffee either. He doesn't watch TV either. We aren't coming either.
Notice something? Either loves the end of the sentence, just like to, but its job is completely different.
Here's today's challenge. Which sentence sounds natural? A, I don't like broccoli too. B, I don't like broccoli either. Take a second. What do you think? The answer, B, I don't like broccoli either. That's exactly what Americans say. Now, here's something surprising. There's one word from today's lesson that still works in negative sentences. Can you guess which one? The answer, also. Listen, she also didn't come. I also don't understand. They also weren't invited. Perfectly natural. So now we have a really useful picture. Positive sentence, also, to as well. Negative sentence, usually, either. But also can work in both positive and negative sentences.
Here's a real workplace conversation. Coworker, I didn't finish the report. You reply, I didn't finish it either. Natural, professional, exactly what you'll hear in American offices.
Or imagine two friends talking. Friend, I can't come tonight. You answer, I can't either. Simple, friendly, natural.
Now here's something fun. Native speakers don't memorize this rule. They've simply heard it thousands of times. And after today's lesson, your brain is starting to build that same pattern.
But wait, there's another situation that confuses learners even more. Someone says, I love pizza. Should you reply, me too? So do I? Or I do too? Believe it or not, all three can be correct. Let's learn when native speakers choose each one. Now we're entering one of the most useful parts of today's lesson, because knowing also, too, and as well is great, but agreeing naturally, that's what makes you sound fluent.
Think about it. How many times every day do people agree with each other? Probably dozens of times.
Someone says, I love coffee. What do most Americans say?
The easiest answer? Me too. 2 words. That's it.
It's probably one of the first expressions English learners ever learn, and for good reason. It's simple, friendly, and used every single day.
But here's where things get interesting. Native speakers don't only say, me too. They also say, so do I.
Listen carefully. I love coffee. Me too. I love coffee. So do I. Both are correct, but they feel slightly different.
Me too feels quick, very conversational. So do I sounds just a little more complete and slightly more polished.
Now here's today's challenge. Someone says, I work from home. Which reply sounds natural? A, me too. B, so do I. The answer? Honestly, both.
Exactly. Native speakers use both all the time. It's mostly a style choice.
Now let's look at negative sentences. Someone says, I don't like spicy food. Would you say, me too?
Nope. Now we switch to me neither.
Or, neither do I. Listen carefully. I don't watch horror movies. Me neither. I don't watch horror movies. Neither do I. Again, both are completely natural.
Here's another example. I can't swim. Neither can I. Notice something? The helping verb changes.
Exactly. I don't like coffee. Neither do I. I can't swim. Neither can I. I won't be there. Neither will I. Native speakers match the helping verb.
Don't panic if that sounds difficult. Most Americans don't think about the grammar. They've simply heard these patterns thousands of times. And today, you're starting to do the same.
Now there's one more expression you'll hear. I do too. For example, someone says, you don't like pizza. You answer, I do too.
Notice the feeling? You're not simply agreeing. You're correcting someone.
Exactly. I do too usually means, yes, I do. You're disagreeing with what someone just said.
Same thing with I don't either, or I do. Context changes everything.
Let's do one final challenge. Someone says, I've never been to New York. What's the most natural reply? A, me neither. B, me too. Take a second. The answer? A, me neither. Because the original sentence is negative. Fantastic. You're already starting to think like a native speaker. And now it's time for the biggest challenge of today's episode. We're going to mix also, too, as well, either, me too, me neither, and so do I inside one real conversation. Can you catch every single one? Let's find out. All right. This is the moment we've been building toward. No more isolated examples, no more short sentences. Now you're going to hear a real conversation, just like two friends having coffee together.
Here's your challenge. As you listen, count how many times you hear also, too, as well, either, me too, and me neither. Don't worry if you miss one. We'll explain everything afterwards. Ready? Let's begin.
Ryan. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible.
Me too. It took me almost an hour to get here.
Really? I also couldn't find a parking space.
That happened to me as well. Downtown is always busy on weekends.
Did you have breakfast?
No, I didn't eat anything this morning.
Me neither. I was running late.
Well, we definitely need coffee.
And maybe something sweet too?
Good idea. I'll get a muffin as well.
Did you watch the baseball game last night?
No, I didn't even turn on the TV.
I didn't watch it either. I was too tired.
Same here. I've been working a lot recently.
Me too. It's been a really busy month.
Our manager also announced the new project yesterday. Did you hear about it?
Yes, and Sarah is joining the team as well.
Really? I didn't know that.
She starts next Monday. You'll probably work with her too.
Great. I've heard she's really friendly.
She is, and she's incredibly organized as well.
I need some of those organization skills too. Don't we all?
So, how did you do? Did you catch them all? Let's check together. We heard me too several times, agreeing with positive statements.
We heard me neither after negative sentences.
We heard also living comfortably in the middle of the sentence.
We heard too waiting patiently at the end.
And we heard as well at the end, adding a slightly smoother, more polished feeling.
Finally, we heard either only after negative sentences, exactly where native speakers naturally use it.
Here's something important. Did you notice we never stopped the conversation to think about grammar?
Exactly, because that's how real English works. Native speakers don't think, should I use also or too? They simply hear what sounds natural.
And that's your goal too. Not memorizing rules forever, but building an instinct for natural English.
Now, before we finish today's lesson, it's time for one final test. 10 quick questions. No hints, no explanations. Just you and your English instincts.
Let's see if you're really thinking like a native speaker.
All right, this is the final challenge. No more explanations, no more hints. Just you, your English instincts, and 10 real-life situations. Keep your score. Let's see how many you can get right. Ready?
Question 1. Your friend says, I love watching documentaries. What's the most natural reply? A, me neither. B, me too. C, me either. The answer is
B, me too, because the original sentence is positive. Question 2. Complete the sentence. I don't drink coffee, blank. A, too. B, also. C, either.
Correct? Either. I don't drink coffee either. Question 3. Choose the most natural sentence. A, I also visited Chicago. B, I visited Chicago also. C, also I visited Chicago. Correct answer? A. Native speakers usually place also in the middle. Question 4. Your coworker says, I'm taking Friday off. What's the best reply? A, me too. B, me neither. C, either. Answer, me too. Question 5. Which sentence sounds the most natural? A, she speaks English too. B, she too speaks English. C, too she speaks English. The best answer? A. Too naturally comes at the end. Question 6. Complete the sentence. He bought a laptop, blank, a printer. A, as well. B, as well as. C, too. Correct? As well as, because you're connecting two things. Question 7. Your friend says, I can't swim. Which reply sounds natural? A, me too. B, me neither. C, me also. Answer, me neither. Negative sentence. Question 8. Which sentence sounds most like everyday American English? A, I also like pizza. B, I like pizza too. C, I like pizza as well.
Here's the surprise. All 3 are grammatically correct, but in casual American conversation, I like pizza too is the most common answer. Correct answer? Either. Final question. Someone says, I've never been to New York. What would you say? The answer? Me neither. Excellent. So, how did you do? 9 or 10 correct? Amazing. You're already starting to think like a native speaker. 7 or 8? That's a really strong result. Keep listening to Real English, and these choices will become automatic. 5 or 6? You're making great progress. Watch this lesson one more time, and you'll notice things you missed the first time. And if your score was below 5, don't worry. Remember, native speakers didn't memorize these rules either. They simply heard them thousands of times. Today, you've started building that same instinct. If this lesson helped you stop guessing and start choosing words like a native speaker, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Talk Bella for more real English conversations every week. And in the comments, tell us your score out of 10 and write one sentence using also, too, or as well. We read every single comment.
Thanks for spending this time with us. Keep speaking, keep listening, and most importantly, keep enjoying English.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.